Walk into any grocery store and it feels like walking into a hall of mirrors. Everywhere you look, packages shout promises: all natural, low fat, no added sugar, immune support, keto-friendly, organic. Each one sounds like it's guarding the secret to health. And yet, somehow, we leave those aisles more confused than when we entered. Because when every label claims to be healthy, who do you believe? What's real nourishment and what's just marketing dressed up as virtue? This is the quiet confusion of modern eating, the space between what we think we're buying and what's really inside the box. We've become label detectives, magnifying fine print under fluorescent lights, searching for truth in ingredients we can barely pronounce. But the truth hides in plain sight. Behind every superfood claim and light sticker, there's a story, one that can either fuel your health or quietly drain it. Let's start with something simple, something you see every day: the word natural. It sounds comforting, doesn't it? Like meadows and rivers and food that comes from the earth. But in most countries, natural means almost nothing. Legally, it can appear on foods with additives, preservatives, and ingredients processed beyond recognition. A granola bar labeled natural can still be made with refined sugars and chemical stabilizers. The label feels wholesome, but it's often a mask. The real test isn't in the front of the box, it's in the back. That's where truth hides, printed in black and white. The ingredients list. Every ingredient tells a story. The closer that list is to something you could find in a kitchen, the closer you are to real food. When a label starts reading like a chemistry exam, step back. Food is meant to nourish, not to confuse. The simplest rule: if your grandmother wouldn't recognize it as food, it probably isn't food. It's a formula. Now, look at another word that's shaped generations of diets: low fat. It sounds healthy, right? But the story of low-fat foods is one of the great nutrition ironies. When fat became the villain in the 1980s, companies stripped it from everything: yogurts, cookies, dressings, and replaced it with sugar and starch to keep flavor. The result? We reduced fat and got fatter, because not all fats are the enemy. Some are your body's best friends. Olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds. These fats fuel your brain, balance hormones, and absorb vitamins. Low fat doesn't mean healthy, it often means highly processed. The better label to look for isn't low fat, but healthy fats included. Then there's the word that plays with our deepest fears and hopes: sugar-free. It feels like safety, like freedom from guilt. But here's the twist: many sugar-free products are packed with artificial sweeteners that may confuse your metabolism, trick your taste buds, and keep cravings alive. When your brain tastes sweetness without calories, it doesn't feel satisfied. It just keeps asking for more. It's like giving your body a promise you never keep. No sugar added can still mean sugar is already there, just under a different name. Maltose, dextrose, fructose, cane juice, all sugar in disguise. Labels know psychology. They know how to say what you want to hear while hiding what you need to know. Next, the word organic. Now, this one carries weight, but also misunderstanding. Organic means grown without synthetic pesticides or fertilizers, and that's valuable for the planet and for you. But it doesn't automatically mean nutritious. Organic cookies are still cookies. Organic soda is still soda. What matters isn't just how something was grown, but how it nourishes you. The word organic should inspire mindfulness, not complacency. And what about gluten-free? It has become a symbol of purity, but unless you have celiac disease or a true sensitivity, it's not inherently healthier. Many gluten-free products use refined starches and extra sugars to compensate for texture. Once again, the label feels virtuous, but the inside tells another story. Health isn't found in the absence of gluten. It's found in the presence of real, balanced food. The trick of modern marketing is subtle. It gives you the illusion of control. You feel empowered, informed, as if you're making better choices. But real control begins when you stop believing everything in bold letters. When you start reading beyond the buzzwords and start asking, what's actually in here? How was this made? What does my body feel like after I eat it? Here's a truth the food industry doesn't want you to know. Labels are written to make you feel good, not to make you healthy. High protein, zero cholesterol. source of fiber. These phrases are designed by psychologists, not nutritionists. High protein might just mean they added soy isolate to cereal. Zero cholesterol might apply to something that never had cholesterol to begin with. And source of fiber could mean 2 grams in a sea of sugar. The words make us feel safe, but safety in food is earned through awareness, not advertising. You know what's beautiful about awareness? It doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for attention. You don't need to memorize every ingredient or count every gram. You just need to care enough to pause, to flip that box around, to read slowly. The moment you do that, you're already ahead of 90% of consumers. You've stepped out of autopilot and into ownership. Now, let's talk about calories, that old, stubborn number that still dictates how millions of people eat. We've been taught to see calories as morality points. The lower, the better. But your body isn't a calculator. It's chemistry, emotion, rhythm, and energy. 100 calories of almonds don't behave like 100 calories of soda. One nourishes, one depletes. It's not about counting, it's about quality. Your cells care more about the source of your energy than the size of it. When you start focusing on quality, everything changes. Suddenly you realize that food labels aren't moral codes, they're maps. And maps can mislead if you don't know how to read them. The destination isn't low calorie, it's high vitality. Another clever label trap is immune boosting or heart healthy. These terms make us feel like we're taking care of ourselves. But here's the truth, no single food can boost immunity or protect the heart by itself. It's the pattern of what you eat daily that defines health. One smoothie with antioxidants won't cancel out weeks of processed meals. True immunity is built over time through variety, rest, movement, and real ingredients. The most powerful food label isn't written on packaging, it's written in your habits. And here's where emotion enters. Marketing thrives on emotion. Fear, guilt, hope. Guilt-free snack. Indulgence without the consequence. Clean eating made easy. But the body doesn't speak in slogans, it speaks in sensations. After you eat, it tells you the truth through your energy, digestion, clarity, and mood. The real decoding happens not in the store, but in your gut, in your skin, in your sleep. When you begin to trust your body more than the label, something profound happens. You stop being a consumer and start being a participant. You eat with awareness. You feel into what works for you. You realize that your energy after the meal is the most honest nutrition label there is. So, what can you actually trust? Start with what has the shortest ingredient list. Whole foods rarely need labels because they are the label. An apple doesn't need a barcode to prove its worth. A bag of spinach doesn't need to shout low calorie. It simply is. The closer you stay to food that looks like itself, the less decoding you'll need. The more you cook, the more fluent you become in the language of ingredients. The more you taste freshness, the easier it is to spot imitation. You see, the danger isn't in eating something processed once in a while. It's in forgetting how real food feels. When all our meals come from boxes, we forget the smell of soil, the sound of chopping, the satisfaction of preparing something from scratch. Health labels want to replace intuition with slogans, but your intuition has always been the most accurate label reader there is. And let's talk about plant-based. It's another modern halo word. In essence, it's a beautiful idea. Eating closer to nature, more fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains. But companies know how to stretch that word thin. A plant-based burger can contain over 20 processed ingredients. Technically, it comes from plants, but so do corn syrup and hydrogenated oil. Don't chase the term, chase the essence. True plant-based eating means abundance from the earth, not imitation of junk food in disguise. The same goes for high protein. Your body doesn't care about buzzwords. It cares about amino acids. Real protein can come from eggs, lentils, fish, tofu, nuts. But many high-protein snacks load up on fillers, gums, and sweeteners. What begins as health often ends as hype. And the more we chase these marketing phrases, the farther we drift from nature's simplicity. Maybe that's the core of it. We've complicated something that was once instinct. Our ancestors didn't read labels. They read seasons. They read their hunger, their environment, their energy. They didn't need heart healthy written on olive oil. They just knew it made them feel alive. Somewhere along the way, We traded intuition for packaging, but you can come back to it. That quiet inner knowing that says, this feels right. Every time you shop, you have a chance to return to that instinct, to see through the packaging and ask, who made this? What journey did it take to get to me? How far has it traveled from the earth it came from? That curiosity reconnects you to the real source of nourishment, not the brand, but the origin. The simplest wisdom is often the hardest to monetize, which is why you rarely see it printed boldly. Eat foods that look like food. Shop the perimeter of the store, where the fruits, vegetables, grains, and fresh proteins live. Fill your plate with colors that grew under sunlight, not under fluorescent light. The closer you eat to nature, the fewer labels you need to decode. Because here's the quiet secret the healthiest people understand. Food marketing changes, but the body doesn't. What nourished us centuries ago still nourishes us today. Fresh produce, clean water, whole grains, nuts, seeds, real herbs, and spices. These don't need rebranding. They've always worked. The wisdom was never lost. It was just buried under buzzwords. And yet, we live in a world where healthy can mean 10 different things to 10 different companies. That's why you must define health for yourself. Does it give you steady energy? Does it calm your gut? Does it leave you feeling clear, not sluggish? That's your real label. Those sensations are your truth. Next time you pick something off a shelf, take a pause. Look beyond the color of the packaging. Ignore the front claims. Flip it. Read what's inside. The first 3 ingredients tell you almost everything you need to know. If sugar or white flour leads the list, you know the story. If you can pronounce the words and they remind you of a kitchen, not a factory, you're in good hands. You don't have to decode everything. Just look for honesty and simplicity. And maybe that's the lesson hiding in all this noise. Food is meant to be transparent. We've built an entire industry on confusion, but nature has always been clear. An orange doesn't need to declare vitamin C. A walnut doesn't scream good fat. They just are. Real food never has to convince you of its worth. So when you hear eat this, not that, remember, it's not about shame or restriction, it's about awareness. Eat what's real, not what's marketed. Eat what feels nourishing, not what feels performative. Eat with your senses, not your slogans. Because the healthiest diet isn't written on a package, it's written in how you feel after the meal. And when you start choosing like that, intuitively, consciously, your entire relationship with food changes. The store becomes less of a trap and more of a treasure hunt. You stop chasing perfection and start cultivating peace. You no longer ask, what should I eat? But what makes me feel alive? That question leads you home to balance, to simplicity, to clarity. You'll find that your energy stabilizes, your digestion improves, your mind feels quieter, because food isn't just chemistry, it's communication. Every bite is a message to your body, and your body always answers. In the end, the best label you can trust is yourself. No certification, no seal, no trendy phrase can replace that. Awareness is your superpower. Use it. Let your intuition, your biology, and your gratitude guide your choices far better than any claim ever could. Eat this. Real, colorful, whole, alive. Not that artificial, manipulative, disconnected. Eat with love, not fear. And let every choice, no matter how small, become a statement of self-respect. Because every time you choose truth over trend, your body listens. It thanks you in energy, in calmness, in resilience. You begin to glow from within, not from what you buy, but from what you believe. So take your power back from the packaging. You've had the wisdom all along. Listen closer, feel deeper, choose cleaner. Stay mindful, stay nourished, and keep seeing through the noise. This is Vital Dynasty.